This is 7 News at Noon.
Off the top this noon, the defense stating their case in the sentencing trial for the Parkland school shooter.
An attorney going into detail about what she calls his troubled life. Our team coverage begins with 7's Brandon Byer. He is live at the Broward County Courthouse. Brandon.
And Vanessa, really, this is this jury's first time in hearing from the defense attorneys. They deferred their opening statements back when this sentencing trial began back in July, said we'll wait and we will address you and give our explanations as to how we all got here after the state rests their case, which the state did that earlier this month. Been a few weeks of break. They've had some hearings in the meantime, but the jury back in the courtroom today as defense attorneys, again for the first time, standing up and offering what they say is really what happened, what created Nicholas Cruz, what caused him to become the person he became, that could do such a horrible thing and murdering 17 people, injuring 17 others at Marjory Stoneman Douglas back in 4.5 years ago. She gets right into it, and you'll hear for just a moment. She gets right into it. There's no excuse. He deserves to be punished. It's up to you to decide if he spends the rest of his life in prison or he is sentenced to the death penalty. And as you heard Howard mentioning throughout the morning, really they're just looking for one juror that can sympathize enough to spare his life. And they started from birth and worked their way through his 19 years when this crime occurred. Let's listen into some of her comments to the jury.
I stand before you today in a space filled with overwhelming sadness, painstaking grief, anger, and trauma. We have all seen and heard things that no one should have to see or hear. Things that will haunt us forever. And every one of you sitting here and in this courtroom knows that there is one person responsible for all of that pain and all of that suffering. And that person is Nicholas Cruz. Each and every one of you is here because each one of you said that life without the possibility of parole could be an appropriate penalty for somebody who viciously murdered 17 people. And you will hear that with an atomic fireball candy, he'll write on his cell wall, 666. Those are the things he does in isolation.
So you heard her mentioning there that at some point in his time behind bars, the behavior of Nicholas Cruz has remained disturbing, and she specifically mentioned there a time when he used an atomic ball candy, like a jawbreaker type candy, as a crown or a marker, and wrote 666, that number that's frequently associated with devil worship. Wrote 666 on the wall of one of his cells. So she said early on, we're not holding anything back. We're not trying to, as far as what they bring to the jury, we're not trying to hide any information from you. We're going to let you hear everything that is what made Nicholas Cruz who he is, the things that happened to him as a child, his birth mother, heavy drug user when she was pregnant with him, the challenges that he dealt with as a child and then a teenager and a young adult. And again, what they're searching for is one juror who will have enough sympathy to spare him the death sentence. Expected to go several more weeks here. They're going to call teachers from his past. His siblings are expected to talk about what their young lives were like as, again, they try to find some sympathy here in this jury. We're live from the Broward County Courthouse. Brandon Byer, 7 News.
All right, Brandon, thank you for that. And we want to bring back 7 News legal expert Howard Finkelstein.
Howard, for those just joining us this noon, what did you take away from the defense's opening statements?
Well, what the defense was trying to show was that this kid was a problem who was screaming out by his behavior from the very early age of 3 on, and that when you look at Nicholas Cruz's whole life and you realize that everybody had an opportunity to treat him, to separate him from the other students, and everybody failed, what they're trying to do is get across to that jury that Nicholas Cruz was so damaged and did what any kid does when they're that damaged. They act out with their behavior, and that it was the responsibility of others, the educational system, law enforcement, the mental health system, to do something about it, and everybody failed.
Howard, we know the siblings are going to be taking the stand, Cruz's siblings, but will Cruz himself take the stand at some point in his own defense?
I don't know the answer, but I seriously doubt it. While it's very emotionally impactful to put your client on the stand and have them turn to a jury and say, please don't kill me, because it's really hard for a human being to look another human being in the eye after that request and then impose a death sentence. In this case, to put Nicholas Cruz on the stand and allow the state attorney to cross-examine him about every single bullet he fired, every single injury he caused, every single student that he killed, would allow the prosecution to re-air their case, and it would cut against what the defense is trying to do. So I don't think you're going to see him take the stand.
Howard, once the defense wraps its case, what then happens?
When the defense finishes, the prosecution will have a chance to engage in what's called rebuttal. They can call witnesses to negate, to rebut what the defense experts or witnesses said. So my guess is you're going to hear the state call in rebuttal other experts in mental health that will rebut what the defense experts say, because they're going to be fighting over whether or not he suffers from fetal alcohol syndrome, which causes this behavior, or whether he is just an antisocial personality for which there is no treatment.
All right, Howard, thank you. Remember, stay with 7 News for continuing coverage of the sentencing trial. We're going to have updates on air, online, and on our social media apps.